Hello. For those of you who may not know who I am, my name is Jeremy McKenzie, and I don't normally like to do these kinds of videos. In fact, I think they're kind of silly and you know just attention for the sake of attention's sake. However, I have some very very serious things that I need to say, and if you care at all about what's going on in this country and what's happening right now, please listen to what I'm about to tell you. I'm a 14-year veteran of the Canadian Forces. I retired in 2017. Since then, I've been, running a podcast and, kind of an internet show. I'm a clown. I'm a comedian. I like to make people laugh, as many of you have probably noticed over the years if you follow any of my content. But if you don't, maybe more recently you've heard of me through the news or through the House of Commons debates, or now that has made its way up to the Senate chamber, where they are debating on the future of this country in a very serious way. If you're not aware of this, the Trudeau regime has enacted what was previously known as the War Measures Act to combat what was and still is the most peaceful, positive, and shining example display of Canadian culture that I've ever witnessed and had the honor and privilege to experience. This isn't World War II, and this is not the FLQ crisis. This is not separatists bombing buildings and murdering people and kidnapping them. This was bouncy castles and hugging and singing and an egregious display of police brutality. If you've been following the story at all, you've been aware of this, but if not, you may have heard them say, that there's a threat. That's why we need the Emergency Measures Act. That's why we need this, because, unbeknownst to many Canadians out there, there's an underground army, a militia of a white supremacist, accelerationist, far-right, dangerous terror group, blah, 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 etc., called Diagolon. That may sound like a ridiculous name to you because it is. I invented it. I am the de facto leader of Diagolon. It's a meme. There is no army, there is no militia, there are no terrorists, there are no weapons caches, there are no threats, there's no organization, there's no planning. This is a social club community of sorts that was weaved together through people that were fans and followers of my podcast, in which I encouraged them to do that. I encouraged people to go, meet each other in real life and engage each other and be human beings and reclaim, what's been taken away from them over the past couple of years, making everybody feel isolated and alone. And apparently that makes me a terrorist now. I made this on my phone with my finger one day as a pretend flag for a pretend country that doesn't exist. Its vice president is a goat figurine named Philip, who time travels and has an extremely hard time with narcotics. He's got a big problem. There's also Billy Bob the Bigot Brick and his bastard Bigot Brick family, who hangs out in a basement next to Colbert the coal furnace. These are all high echelon esteemed positions in the government of Diagolon. I can't believe I even have to explain this. However, we do, because that's apparently how desperate this government is. The Liberal government has paid for, constructed, and oiled up very well an organization called the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, which is funded partly by the government of Canada, indirectly and directly. It's received donations from members of the government, from Gerald Butts and others. You can go right to their website and see it for yourself. All of the things being said about me and my friends are sourced from these people. These people are not academics. They're not researchers. They're not journalists. They're a partisan tabloid paid for by the Liberal government, trying to strangle its political opposition in its infancy. I'm a founding member of the PPC. I've always been a supporter of Maxime Bernier and Randy Hillier and others. I think that's a big part of the problem for them. They've created this boogeyman character of a fake army that doesn't exist to justify a grotesque abuse of our citizens. I hope you've seen the footage. It might be hard to find because the media has buried it. A woman was trampled by a horse. People were pepper sprayed, hit with batons. My friends of mine were beaten in the street for no reason. Veterans. No one so much as threw a snowball. Many of these cops, whatever they were, no name tags, no badges, no IDs, nothing. Were they even cops? And now they want a permanent emergency. You think it's going to be 2 weeks? It's just 2 weeks so we flatten the emergency, guys. You want to give these people this kind of power? It's insane. And their justification, and if you don't believe me, I've uploaded some of it now. You can go watch for yourself. Go watch the Senate hearings. They're talking about this like this is an actual threat to the country. The only country that this government feels confident enough to attack and is still, by my count, losing to, is one that doesn't even exist. And it is funny, it is hilarious, and it is a joke, but the consequences are very real, and these senators believe what they're being told by these poisonous, smear merchants. Now, it's saying it's coming from a professor of this university, and it's a researcher at this organization. Their source material is always the same, and it always comes back to the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, which is made up of liars and schemers and snakes. Bernie Farber was already caught in a hate hoax. He tried to pretend that an anti-Semitic flyer posted in Florida was done by the truckers here in Ottawa. These senators are being given information, politically motivated lies, as justification to bring a sledgehammer down on every man, woman, and child in this country. They've made protesting illegal. Where does it end? I don't know where it ends, but I know what's going to happen to all of us. We're all going to go to prison for a long time. I don't know if you've thought this through, but leaders of de facto leaders of national or international terrorist organizations that are planning to overthrow the governments with bouncy castles are, probably not treated too well, especially when they've already been convicted in the court of public opinion. I've been told it's very Kafkaesque, and I would agree. We're in a rough spot here. This country's completely gone off the rails. The media is not asking questions. Nobody is doing their job anymore. So I'm doing all that I can do. I've explained this in detail. I've written a letter to every single senator in this country. It's in their possession now, along with some links, and you can go see for yourself. And I'm going to post it in its entirety after I'm done uploading this. You can see it on my Telegram page or my website or whichever website. Diagolon.org. Diagolon.org. It's a meme country. It's a joke. It's a way to connect with people through humor and levity during arguably one of the most difficult time periods to even live in this country. And these psychopaths are trying to use that as a way to smear everyone else and make themselves the victims. Do you think really Justin Trudeau, the Liberal government, are they victims? Victims of what? Victims of honking. They wanted violence, they didn't get any, so they imposed it themselves and ruthlessly beat their own people in the street and then have the audacity to act as though they are under attack and need a permanent emergency because of this, because of a joke. So if you can do anything, send this to everybody. Send the letter, send this video, send that website to everybody. Everybody you know, everybody you can find, every journalist, every politician, every MP, every MLA, In other countries, the president of Nigeria, the last Blockbuster that still exists, go to the last two Kmarts, I think they're in New Jersey, and send it to them too. Because the media in this country is not listening. And they don't want to listen. And they're going to sit there and twiddle their thumbs as unlimited extreme power is granted to the worst people to ever run this country, and there's not going to be any stopping them. It'll never end. The emergency will never end. Because the emergency is political dissent. It's dissenting citizens. If they can do this to me, they can do it to you. And they will. And how long until maybe you don't agree with me, maybe you don't like anything I have to say. That's fine. I'm okay with that. You're allowed to, or at least you should be allowed to. But one of these days, you're not going to agree with something the government wants to do. And then guess what's going to happen? I don't really know what else to say, except that this has gone completely, this is insane. I mean, this isn't a serious country anymore when, an internet clown memes a fake country and the government is trying to use that as casus belli to declare war on its own people. We need to pay attention and we need to do something about this before it's too late, because if they pass this, that's it. And they'll extend it, and they'll extend it, and they'll extend it. So please go to the website, diagolon.org, and I just wanted to tell the truth, and I just wanted to help people. I just wanted to make them laugh and make them feel like they weren't alone and that they had somebody that they could talk to, that's all. And if that makes me a terrorist, if that's the justification for the Emergency Measures Act, the War Measures Act, I think you need to think long and hard about if this is still a country you want to live in anymore.